Over the next 200 days, I'm going to be building this beautiful medieval village that you see before you in hardcore Minecraft. This is also going to be my first ever hardcore Minecraft world, so this should not only be a super fun and exciting experience for me, but for you as the viewer. Well, I suppose all that's left for me to do now is get started, huh? Well, we don't need this anymore. Now, thankfully, I spawned inside of a snowy peaks biome, making it extraordinarily easy to get some iron in the early game. And now, with some easily obtained basic protection, I feel safe enough to go ahead and start searching for a cave. But first, I should get a bed real quick. Ah, the first sleep in the world. Now, let's go find a cave. Look at that cave. Oh boy, is that deep. Once inside of the cave, it didn't take me very long to find my first diamonds, and after that, I managed to stumble my way into an ancient city, where I then proceeded to dig this tunnel and immediately spawn a warden. Pretty sad, actually. I didn't even open a single chest yet and managed to spawn one. After that whole fiasco though, I ended up playing a lot of this game where I would have to open a chest, real quickly loot whatever was in it, and then run and hide in a hole in the wall because I had already set off the maximum amount of skull shriekers and every chest would spawn a warden. After I got used to the game though, I did find some pretty good loot. I even ended up getting really lucky and found the silence armor trim on only my 6th chest. After that, I proceeded to open 3 chests in a row that gave me enchanted golden apples, and after that point, I thought it was probably a good time to leave the city. I had had some really good luck and really didn't want to push it. So then I proceeded to dig to the surface, which is where I then found and tamed this beautiful all-black horse, and rode until I found the perfect location to build the base. Well, this seems like as good a place as any to go ahead and set up shop. We got a pretty dang good haul from that there ancient city. We got 2 Swift Sneak 3 books and Power 4, 5 enchanted golden apples. I'm actually gonna go ahead and keep 2 of those on my person. For this area here, we go ahead and zoom out. I have some very ambitious plans for this whole area. This mountain up here, and that island over there. Render distance is kind of cutting off, but there are some very ambitious plans. Now for today's focus, we are working in this area here. So we're gonna have to do some terraining, of course, get rid of this hill, fill in some of this. But this is our focus today. We are working on a little bit of a starter village, as I'm sure you guys are already aware from the title and the thumbnail. But before we can go ahead and get started with any of that, I would like to get a little bit better protection and some better tools. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start a strip mine so we can get a few more diamonds, because although we did very good on that ancient city hall, we didn't actually get all that many diamonds from mining. So I guess it's time to go back down to the mines. All right, everybody. As you saw, we got a whole lot of diamonds on that mining trip. We actually got a stack and 41 diamonds on that mining trip. And I don't have Fortune 3, so that's just incredible. Like, my mind is blown that we got that many. Anyway, now that we have these diamonds, let's go ahead and craft ourselves a full set. We already have the pants from the ancient city, in case you forgot. There we go. Full diamond armor. We still have just shy of a stack and a half. Now, also, in the ancient city, in case you forgot, we got the silence armor trim. So what we're gonna do right now is craft up a bunch of silence armor trims copies. So now we have a total of 6 silence armor trims, and we're going to use 4 of these right now. So here we go, silence on the helmet. Go ahead and get ourselves silence on our chest plate. Silence on the boots. And finally, we can go ahead and put the trim on our pants. We can go ahead and throw all that back on, and we are looking sharp. And now we can go ahead and craft our very first enchantment table of the world. And now we can go ahead and grab a wee little bit of lapis and hopefully get some decent enchants on this armor. Protection 1, protection 1, and protection 1. That's all I was really hoping for. And you know what? I'll wait to enchant any pick. Now that we have some decent armor and we can make diamond tools, it is time for us to go ahead and start gathering resources for the project that we are working on in today's episode. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done some resource gathering as you saw. Got a little bit of tuff, a little bit of cobblestone and diorite, trying to get a decent bit of copper, and I got a whole lot of wood. However, there are 2 more resources that I desperately need before I can go ahead and start working on this village, and unfortunately, both of them require me to go to the Nether. So that's what we're gonna do right now. And I desperately don't want to go to the Nether because, well, I'm convinced it's going to be the end of this hardcore world, but I kind of got to go there in order to get crimson and warped wood. So wish me luck. Let's go ahead and see what awaits us on the other side of this portal. Well, besides putting the portal 3 blocks away from a drop that will 100% end this world, a kind of bad spawn. I mean, you know, Nether... Oh, never mind. There's another fortress right next to the portal. I see a warped tree in the distance. All right, this is actually a pretty good spawn. I'll take this. All right, well, now that we have made it to the Nether and back with 6 stacks of warped and crimson stems, it is time for us to go ahead and start clearing out this area for today's project. Meaning I'm going to go ahead and start removing this hill and filling in a little bit of this ravine. So let's go ahead and clear that up, and then we can start building the village. Alright, so after that quick time lapse, as you can tell, we have done a whole lot of terraining. The entire area is now flat. This was a giant hill before, absolutely insane. The only thing that really got me through this was that one of my friends had gotten a efficiency 5 villager. So I bought like 3 efficiency 5 diamond shovels and just tore that thing down. And of course, even that was nowhere near enough. I still went through about 3 more normal diamond shovels. So that was an incredibly painful process. But you know what? Now that this entire area is now flat, we can go ahead and start outlining where our different buildings are going to be going. I intend to build about 7 of these buildings today, plus a few other small details. And before anyone says something, I know there's clearly a lot more terraining to do. There's a lot of giant holes everywhere, a lot of just like cutoffs. But I just want to finally start building, and I seem to have more than enough space to actually do that now. So let's go ahead and sleep through the night, and then tomorrow we will finally start building the medieval village. And with that, outline 7 of 7 is now completed. So there is the entire village layout for episode 1. Now we have to go ahead and actually start building these different houses. So let's go ahead and start with that one over there. Alright, well that is the first of 7 houses now fully constructed. And as I'm sure some of you have noticed, I used the tough and pale moss in this upper portion of the build, and I will admit, it does look a little weird, as I'm sure some of you are saying right now. But the key here is when looking at it from a distance, it looks really good. Like, it doesn't really look all that off-putting, and it certainly looks a lot better than if I stuck oak wood or something in there. So keep your comments to yourselves. I know it looks a little weird up close, but from a distance, it is beautiful. Also, of course, there is no interior yet. I think I'm going to try and leave a lot of the interiors undone, and I'm going to do most of them on stream so that I have a reason to actually live stream. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah, the first of 7 houses is now completed. We can go ahead and check that off our to-do list. And now we have 6 more houses to do. So tell you what, let's go ahead and get these 3 right here all done. And once all 3 of those are completed, we will come back together and evaluate where we're at. Alright everybody, so I have gone ahead and done a few things here. As I'm sure you can tell, this house is not actually completed yet because, well, simply put, I have run out of the copper resources. I no longer have solid copper blocks, which really is slowing me down for the roof. So yeah, I can't really do too much more. I am truly loving this house though, I will say. I hope you guys are liking this as well. But between these 3 buildings so far, I'm very pleased. Also, in case you haven't noticed, I did remove the outline for the 7th building. I was going to do 7, but it just didn't look right there. It was really small. It seemed weird. So I did remove it. We're just going to do these 6 builds today. But all 6 of these builds are really nice. And these next 3 that we still have to do are all going to be pretty large. And they all feature a tower. So I'm still really excited. This is going a lot slower than I thought it was going to be, but you know what? We are still making really good progress. I am absolutely loving how this all looks. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up, and then let's go ahead and get started on how about this one. Alright everybody, and with that, all 6 of the houses are now completely constructed, and they are looking magnificent. Not gonna lie, This one is by far one of the most interesting ones in my opinion. However, it was definitely one of the most difficult ones to get to look even remotely decent. This angle I think is a really beautiful build, and I love the placement of the doors. It's very unique. From this angle it looks good, from the back it looks good. It's just trying to get the roof to work well on this side was really difficult because of the difference in the size from that side of the house to this side of the house. There was probably a better way of doing it, but I just couldn't figure it out. Then there's both of these, which I absolutely love. Again, there is no interior to any of these buildings. I intend to do all of that on live stream, like I said earlier. Now that we've got all of that in place, this area is looking pretty nice. The only issue is it doesn't look much like a village. It actually just looks like a bunch of random houses. So to fix this, what we're going to do right now is come over to this area and then build a farm right here in this location. So let's just real quickly do a turn and a hop. And now when I turn back around, voila, there is now a mighty beautiful farm. And as you'll notice, there's actually more than one. If we go ahead and zoom out now, you'll notice there are two beautiful farms, one of which being for wheat and the other being for potato. However, I was a little light on resources, so over time, both farms will fill up, but as of right now, they're not completely full. But now it's time to go ahead and get to the next part of today's video. Now that we have some area filled, it's time for us to go ahead and acknowledge the fact that this area doesn't really look like a village. While yes, building those two farms did fill in some space, and it did definitely help make it look more like people live here, it still looks like a bit of a mess, just kind of some random buildings chucked together. So what we're going to do right now is add a few more medium-sized details. These will include some paths, maybe a handful of trees, and a windmill to hopefully try and bring this a bit more together. Let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? All right, everybody. Well, there you have it. The area is looking absolutely beautiful. Plenty of trees, all the farms. I absolutely love it. It looks incredible. As you can tell, we're standing on a brand new windmill. We'll take a look at it once we get on the ground. But something I want to point out about these spruce trees before I go down is I put pots on them. And as you can see, there's a pot right there. They're supposed to look like little pine cones. And you'll have to tell me if they actually look like they're supposed to. Unfortunately, a pine cone, I believe it's supposed to like hang from the tree. Can't really do that with pots in Minecraft, so they're sitting on top of the leaves. They're maybe not the most accurate thing, but I think it's pretty obvious if you know that these are pine trees and they're supposed to have pine cones. These four actually don't have pine cones yet. I did run out of pots, but I will be coming back around to add to those. But I mean, they look good. I think they do look good. You'll have to tell me down below. I also tried adding like mushrooms to the side of that one. I don't know if I like that, but I'm gonna see. I'm just gonna leave it for a little while. Maybe I'll grow. Maybe it'll grow on me. That's kind of funny because it's a mushroom. I don't know why. Ignore my horrible humor. The most notable thing that I built that I really want to show off is this willow tree. So this one, there's a whole lot of glowberries. There are some glowberries on the bigger one, but there's a lot more here because this is supposed to be like a willow tree. And one of the big features on a willow tree is just the hanging leaves. Also, there's that windmill. We can look at that from a distance now. Moving this way, we of course have a few more of these pine trees, and then there is of course the big oak tree. Taking a step back to look at this, I wanted it to be a big centerpiece tree. I was contemplating putting like a well or something in the middle, but to make something that filled that large of a space, you would need a crazy big well. So I think going with the tree was the right idea. I left these grass patches around because I want to add some flower gardens around here. But these are things that we're going to take a look at in the morning because I don't want to die. All right, morning. Hopefully those guys will just despawn. But yeah, we now have these medium details in, being the trees and the farms and that windmill. And the area is really starting to come along. It's looking a lot more lively. However, we still need to add the smaller details that really just make this place look like a home village. As it stands right now, there's no people. There's no evidence that really makes this look like people have lived here. So we need to go ahead and add that. And the first thing that I want to do is add a bit of a chicken coop right here. So let's just go ahead and real quickly twist and twist on back. Now we have a beautiful chicken coop with a chicken who is for some reason jumping into the side of it. All right, now I want to do something else. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is add a simple little cover with a wheelbarrow right here. So once again, let's go ahead and jump, and voila. Now we've got a canopy made out of beautiful campfires. We've got some overgrown bushes over here, got a little bit of hay and a pumpkin growing over here, and then we've got a wheelbarrow that has a pumpkin inside of it. Now, these white banners, I do want to eventually make the banner of the kingdom. As of right now, I don't really know what I want that banner to look like, so they're just going to be blank white banners, but in the future, they will be the kingdom's flag, if you will. All right, next up, let's come over here, because I want to go ahead and add a little hay storage area, so we'll have some hay bales and a covered little thing, and that'll be storage for all of the hay that we're getting from our wheat farm. So let's go ahead. And you know what, this time, I think we're just going to climb up here, and when we look back down, there should be a pretty cool farm. So let's check. Nope, still nothing. Nope, nothing yet. Nope, not yet. And now we just go ahead and look up, and voila. Now, all of a sudden, there's this beautiful little canopy thing. All right. Oh yeah, epic MLG. Looking at this up close, it's really not much. There's just a little bit of a canopy mounted on the side of the building, no supports or anything, and there's just a bunch of hay under it. I do want to do a few more things, but I'm sure you guys are starting to get sick of this already, so I'm just going to go ahead and add the flower beds and maybe a few other details on my own, and I'll bring you guys back in a moment. All right, everybody, we are once again back up here inside of our windmill. As you can see, I've done a little bit of work. There are definitely a few more things that I would like to do, but I think this area is pretty much completed. I'm not gonna lie. I am incredibly happy with how this entire area has turned out. And if we just go ahead and walk around here, I think you'll definitely have to agree with me that this entire area just feels so much more alive, feels so much more lived in with all these little details. Honestly, the only way that I think I could make this feel even more lived in is if I added actual people in here, whether it via armor stands or villagers. I'm not too sure how I would do that, but it definitely sounds like a really cool idea. 100% is something that I'm going to look into for the future. As you can see here, I added the flower garden around this one house. I then added these two in the middle area here. So this one's got a bunch of red tulips and some lilac bushes, and this one over here has got some rose bushes, pink petals, cornflowers. Very nice. I added some benches, the occasional lamppost. Also went ahead, added a well. Really nice. Yeah, just some small details to kind of bring this place a little bit more to life, and I think it came out absolutely incredible. Like I said, I do think I should find a way to add some real people in here. I know there are some armor stand mods that I can use. I could try and do villagers as well, and I do like that idea, but I'm afraid that with villagers, they're just gonna run off into nowhere and get killed by zombies, so I'm not too sure how I'm gonna do that, but if you guys have any ideas, let me know down below because I would love to hear your thoughts. But I think that's gonna be where we end it for this one. We have built a absolutely incredible looking medieval village. This build is absolutely incredible, and this is hopefully only the beginning of what I will do over this entire area during this series. Hopefully this series ends up going on for quite a while. Unfortunately, if I continue to wear armor like this, it's not going to last that long though. So next episode, while I do have a really cool build plan, I'm definitely going to have to get myself some better armor just for safety reasons. But as for the future episode, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.